Turbulence forces plane into emergency landing. This is breakingnewsenglish.com. Severe turbulence forced an airplane into an emergency landing on Monday. Nearly 40 people were injured on the Air Europa Boeing 787 Dreamliner plane. It was flying from Spain to Uruguay. Turbulence hit the plane over the Atlantic as it neared South America. Air traffic controllers told the pilot to make an emergency landing in Natal, in northeastern Brazil. Many of the injured were treated at a hospital in Natal. Other injured people completed their journey to Uruguay's capital city Montevideo by bus. Air Europa sent a new plane from Madrid on Monday. It flew passengers who chose not to take the bus to their final destination. The turbulence is the latest in a string of mid-air occurrences to injure many people. Turbulence is the violent or unsteady movement of air. Modern aircraft are designed to survive strong winds and dangerous pockets of air. It is extremely rare for turbulence to damage an airplane. It is even rarer for it to cause a plane to crash. The biggest danger to passengers comes from not wearing a seatbelt. Anyone standing up in the airplane or not wearing a seatbelt while seated can be thrown around the cabin. They can suffer bad injuries by hitting their head on overhead lockers or on the plane ceiling. Scientists from Reading University in the UK reported that severe turbulence is getting worse because of climate change. They said incidents increased by 55% between 1979 and 2020. Thank you for listening to breakingnewsenglish.com. UK Army tests anti-drone radio wave weapon. This is breakingnewsenglish.com. The British Army has successfully tested a new weapon to destroy drones. It has created a radio wave weapon system that can knock swarms of drones out of the sky. Many armies around the world use drones to attack enemy soldiers, tanks, and cities. Drones are a very effective way of attacking enemies. They can cause a lot of damage. The British Army's new system uses high-frequency radio waves to destroy the computer chips that control drones. This causes the drones to crash or fly off course. An Army spokesperson said the system could take out more than 100 drones almost instantly. He said it could give the Army a big advantage on the battlefield. The UK government spent more than $53 million developing the anti-drone weapons system. The system is very cheap to operate. It costs just 18 cents to fire one shot at a swarm of drones. This is 1/10 of the price of a standard bullet used by the British Army. A spokesperson said it was important to find cheap and effective ways to defend British soldiers. He pointed to Russia's use of drones in its 3-year war against Ukraine. The UK government said, drone swarms are increasingly seen in use in frontline combat in Ukraine. UK intelligence estimates that last year, Ukraine had to defend against attacks from more than 18,000 drones. Noise-canceling headphones may cause hearing problems. This is breakingnewsenglish.com. Wherever we look nowadays, we see people wearing headphones or earbuds. They are becoming increasingly popular with the younger generation, for work and for leisure. However, a new report from the BBC suggests noise-cancelling earphones could lead to hearing loss. The BBC interviewed doctors and audiologists, hearing specialists, at audiology departments in 5 UK hospitals. The doctors told reporters they are seeing many young people who are finding it more and more difficult to process sounds. The young patients say they can hear sounds, but they're often not sure where the sounds are coming from. The doctors say noise-canceling earphones could be the problem. The BBC spoke to Dr. Renee Almeida, an audiologist at London's Imperial College. She said there was an increase in the number of young people complaining about poor hearing. She said people need to hear many kinds of sounds. One important listening skill is to focus on and decide which sounds are helpful. Our ears must filter out sounds we don't think are important. Dr. Almeida said, there is a difference between hearing and listening. We can see that listening skills are suffering. Another audiologist suggested that headphones can lead to bad listening habits. She said we can forget to hear important sounds, like cars beeping. Headphones may even cause problems in hearing spoken words. NASA spacecraft flies closest ever to the Sun. This is BreakingNewsEnglish.com. Things are heating up for the USA's National Aeronautical Space Administration, NASA. One of the agency's missions is to study the Sun. In 2018, NASA sent a small research probe to photograph our nearest star. The spacecraft is called the Parker Solar Probe. It made history on Christmas Eve by going closer to the Sun than any spacecraft has ever gone before. Parker flew to within 6.1 million kilometers of the Sun. This is very close. Parker also holds another record. It is the fastest object ever built by humans. In September 2023, it flew at a speed of 635,266 kilometers per hour. At this speed, the probe could travel the 10,846 kilometers from New York to Tokyo in just 1.025 minutes. The Parker Solar Probe is named after the astrophysicist Dr. Eugene Parker. He spent most of his life studying the Sun and its solar flares. He wanted to know why the flares, which shoot off from the Sun's surface, are hotter than the surface. This is known as the coronal heating problem. It is a long-standing mystery for scientists. The temperature at the Sun's surface is around 4,100 degrees Celsius, while the temperature of the corona's flares can reach 1.1 million degrees Celsius. Scientists also hope to find out how solar winds originate. NASA said Parker, the probe, has faced extreme heat on its record-breaking flyby. Temperatures reached a scorching 980 degrees Celsius.
Eiffel Tower full of rust and in need of repair. This is BreakingNewsEnglish.com. The Eiffel Tower is one of the world's most famous sights. The 324-meter-tall Iron Tower attracts millions of tourists to Paris every year. It has been an iconic part of Paris's skyline for 133 years. However, it is showing its age. Engineers recently conducted a survey of the monument. They found that its metal is full of rust. They said it is in a poor state. They added that if its designer, Gustave Eiffel, was alive today and saw his creation, he would have a heart attack. Engineers say there are many cracks in the iron. The tower needs many repairs. A 2016 report on the tower stated there were 698 faults on the tower. These were serious enough to put the tower's long-term future in doubt. Construction of the Eiffel Tower started in January 1887. It opened to the public on the 31st of March 1889. It was built to celebrate the 1889 World's Fair in Paris. Builders needed 10,100 tons of iron to make the tower. It was made from 18,000 sections and 2.5 million rivets. The original plan was for the tower to be taken down after 20 years. However, the French government changed its mind and kept it in place. The tower is currently being repainted ahead of the 2024 Olympics. Engineers say painting the metal will not make the rust problem go away. They say the existing paint needs to be completely removed first. However, This will take too long and the tower would lose tourist revenue. This is Maya reporting from Recul-Prévenquières in France.